Hello and welcome to Better Than Mario Brothers, where each episode we delve headfirst into cinema's sewer. I am Chris Bolton. With me, as always, my partner in podcasting, Mr. Mark Williams.
Hello.
And we are rounding off our Wrestlemania extravaganza here on the network, all 3 episodes of it. We are rounding off with certainly my favourite Hulk Hogan film. I don't know whether it's the best. Or it probably shouldn't be the best to watch on this show anyway, but it's actually the second time I believe the Hulkster's appeared on the show now. So I think he's now officially our most featured performer. But we are looking back at Suburban Commando. Now, before we dive in, I do have a confession to make. I was, how shall I put this? Shit-faced watching this. So my notes... I'm looking at them now, and I can't fucking read them.
That's a really good start.
Yeah, I'll try and decipher them as best I can. I mean, I say shit-faced. I wasn't completely. I mean, obviously, I was coherent, but I had quite a bit to drink by the time I watched this because it's a bank holiday weekend. So
to be fair, I watched it last night, and I wish I was drunk.
Yeah. Let's get into it then. First and foremost, most annoying thing for me, and we talked about this briefly last week as well. For reasons I won't bore everybody with, I've changed my Blu-ray player recently. I assumed that the one that I changed for, which is a much newer model, and I happened to come into possession of legally, I may add, didn't pay for it, but came into possession of it legally. I assumed that would also be multi-region. Fucking wasn't. Now, I've had Suburban Commando on DVD for probably 15 years as a Region 1 DVD. So, in my inebriated state, trying to get a Region 1 hack working, it just wasn't going to happen. So, for those of you that do want to watch this legally, and we always encourage you to do so, it is available on Amazon, thank Christ, because otherwise I wouldn't have been able to play it. So yeah, that annoyed me slightly because I've now paid extra to watch Suburban Commando after having already bought it on VHS back in the day and DVD. I now own it digitally as well.
Yeah, so I had it on VHS. I remember when this first came out, or not long after seeing it. And so yeah, we had it on VHS, and it was one of the ones that normally we'd tape stuff off TV. Mm-hmm. So we wouldn't have proper copies, but this is one of the ones I think I had it for a Christmas or a birthday or something. So I had a proper copy of this. It's still in my parents' attic somewhere. Yeah. Fucked if I know where, but it's still there somewhere. Didn't have it on disc at any point, and then I've done the same. I've had to go and invest like actual cash money to see it again, which I'm not overly thrilled about. I've got to be honest.
No, I mean, maybe we'll get onto that on the summing up, I guess. But I mean, to dive into it, first and foremost, I haven't watched it now for 8-9 years, probably.
I have double that.
Yeah, I have seen this a lot, but I haven't seen it probably for about 8-9 years. First thing though, opening theme and the opening song over the credits both take me right back. Yeah. Like it has that kind of like we get on SMPD, you know, once the actual, it's not so much the theme as it is like the song that plays over the credits, you know, it's a nice place to live. As soon as that hits, I'm like, oh yeah, okay. So I get kind of nostalgia from that, but oh my God, like even having watched it like 8 years ago, I can't believe that I don't remember how fucking atrocious the effects are in this film.
Yeah, I was going to say, straight off the bat, it's like somebody's gone, we want to make the end of Star Wars. Yeah. But we've only got MS Paint and Windows Movie Maker.
And the thing is, what's so weird about it is like actually the production design, like the interior of the sets and stuff. Yeah, they're cheap, but I mean, they're TV standard. At least they look okay. They look, in fact, I'd argue they're probably slightly better than TV standard. They look pretty good. And I'd say somebody's done a good facsimile of like the bridge of a Star Destroyer or something. Like it's pretty fucking good. And you know, Hogan's power armor as well looks pretty fucking good.
Yeah.
But then you get the external shots in space, and yeah, it looks like fucking Wing Commander 4. You know,
Yeah.
the one with Mark Hamill and the fucking big furry head thing, when it was all on like full motion video. It looks like that. It looks like
Yeah.
a fucking Wing Commander. It's
Even to a point where they ripped off the his fighter design, because it's a cross between a TIE fighter and an X-wing. It's a TIE fighter body with fucking four diagonal wings coming off it.
Yeah, a TIE wing. Yeah, that sounds a bit like a sanitary product, so probably best leave that there. But yeah,
market it. Why not?
The effects are fucking awful. That was just the first thing that hit me. Yeah. But actually, you know, other than that, the opening's pretty good. Like it is and it isn't. I think it's competently directed throughout this. I've got to be fair. Like, you know, our introduction to Hogan, where you start with the boots and he's clunking along in the power armor and just spitting out one-liners, and like you've got to give it to him. Like Hulk Hogan cannot act. He's fucking atrocious. But what he can do is throw a decent punch and spit out a one-liner. Like he's not bad when you allow him to flex his comedy chops. And this is by no means me advocating for Mr. Nanny here, but when you allow him to flex his comedy chops, he's not awful. That's probably the best compliment I'm going to pay him throughout this podcast. He's not awful as long as he's just trying to be funny. And he is, you know, just smacking people around and dropping the Arnie one-liners is pretty good.
That's all fine. I mean, I did find it quite amusing. I mean, the whole thing. So the opening sequence where he infiltrates a Star Destroyer, for a want of a better phrase.
It's a fucking Star Destroyer. Yeah. It is.
Takes everybody out. Gets to the bridge, the control room, wherever you call it, where that planet's president is being held captive. Yeah. I mean, who keeps him in the fucking bridge? You keep him in a dungeon. You keep him in the brig.
Yeah, you wouldn't have them on the bridge. Yeah.
So you've got that for a start, because then you wouldn't want to bring anybody to the bridge. You'd want to take them as far away. You want them down by the fucking cesspool. You know, a la the Death Star. You want to have the trash compactor. So you get that, but then all the way through, you've got the villains. I can't remember his fucking name. General Suter.
Yeah.
So he's there talking it all up and talking about his grand scheme, as all fucking 90s movie villains did, and then. As soon as Hogan steps in, it's like the president grows a sack and cuts his fucking hand off.
Yeah.
At which point, he goes a bit green, he goes a bit hulkish, and then Hogan goes, "Oh, fuck this noise." He starts planting detonators there and fucks off. He doesn't even try to rescue the president. It's like, that's the fucking worst rescue ever. Again, that's the fucking trash compactor of rescues.
Yeah, it's fucking terrible. But I mean, look, in general, this, like... Obviously, we're going to pull the story apart here, and we're going to pull the script apart, right? No spoilers for anybody listening to this episode, but like it makes no fucking sense. Like none of this makes any fucking sense. So just strap yourselves in, because this is I've got a feeling this is going to be an hour of us going, but that doesn't make any sense. But that wouldn't work. None of it makes sense. There is no fucking story that I can tell. No discernible reason for anyone to do anything. But you know, whatevs. So that's our opening. Yeah, the president grows a pair. But like I say, you got Hogan giving it the whole, you know, going up, going down. Yeah. Fine. Up for all of that. And actually, at this point, bearing in mind, I've had about 7 pints. So I'm kind of up for this. I'm feeling pretty good about it at this point. Then the credits come in and I like the music, but the credits themselves are fucking awful. Absolutely atrocious.
And I mean, we've skipped over a bit as well. So he escapes, and he you know, again, we get some fantastic acting. We're like, oh no, stabilize, steady, okay.
Oh, that's dreadful, isn't it?
You get
that. Pod's coming out, yeah.
So the pod's spinning, and all of a sudden they just go, oh yeah, we can lock the camera off. Okay. Yeah. So they get through that, and then we get this nice bit of exposition about, actually, yeah, we haven't really got anything for you to do. So no, this is the reason you're going on vacation. He has a toddler tantrum. In much the same way that I have broken 4 PlayStation controllers and a Game Boy. Things haven't gone my way, and so I've slammed the fucking thing.
Yeah, he literally does. Yeah, and breaks his fucking... I mean, look, I do this with shit all the time. Most recently, my blender. I do. If I get wound up, yeah, and you're dead right. What you do, you throw it, or you kick it, or you punch it. You're just like, for fuck's sake.
So he has this massive toddler tantrum, and then they say, oh, your ship's going to have to repair itself, so you have to do it now 0.1% or whatever it is to make, that'll take me 6 weeks. What am I going to do for 6 weeks? Now, first of all, science point, Weeks are different wherever you go.
Good point. Do you know what? I'm normally pretty crash hot on science in stuff like this, but yeah, I hadn't even thought of that.
A
Is
day
that
in a week,
Earth weeks or
well,
is
exactly.
that?
So there's that
Good
before you start.
point.
But then you get this bit. So his computer works out where he's going, and you get a nice bit of casual racism from Hulk Hogan. Who'd have thought it? Ugh, Earthlings. So who'd have seen that one coming?
Alarm bells should be ringing at this point. All those years ago, we should have realised. But I mean, again, the whole concept of this is just fucked. Because before he even breaks the control panel, they're basically saying to him, like, "Yeah, you've done everything. You've saved the galaxy. Like, you know, at this point,
have a week off.
You know, weep because there is nothing left to conquer. Like, what are you going to do?" And that essentially is the plot of our film. Like, it's Hulk Hogan goes on holiday. That's it.
What else to do?
Yeah, they literally say to him, "Well, there's no missions for you. You're not going to Earth to save anybody. You're not going to Earth to protect anything. So just fuck off. Really. See you in a fortnight.
Go mingle with the locals.
Yeah, here's your wristband. Off you go."
Yeah.
So
that's amusing, and you get the bit of, and again, just put the credits. So you get the credits start with that, and then you get the really crappy bit where he flies to Earth, and then again, I'm not a physicist, I'm not an aeronautics engineer, but I'm fairly sure if something's flying in, it doesn't just stop dead, then stall, then fall directly to the ground. I'm not sure that's not how it works.
Yeah, pretty sure there's going to be some sort of momentum and also gravity involved here.
Yeah.
So never mind re-entry and all of that as well.
Yeah. So that's a bit fucked up. And then so he crashes through the roof of a disco. All right. Now I'm fairly sure he crashes through the roof. But then when he turns the power on, all the disco lights and everything come on. Where are they coming from? Because he's just made a hole in the fucking roof.
Yeah. Yeah. So, also, he makes no attempt to repair it when he's hiding his spaceship in the most obvious place everywhere. Anyway, which is
I know.
The power's
I've made a hole in the roof.
Yeah,
I've made a hole in the roof. I've got the lights are flashing, the music's playing. I'm drawing attention to myself left, right, and centre because it's the middle of the fucking afternoon.
Right.
And I know. Yeah, that's fine. I'll just leave it there.
Plus, if the lights are going, the music's playing, the power's on, this suggests this is an operational nightclub. So,
well, yeah, somebody's going to notice there's no roof on it and there's a big spaceship in the middle of it.
Yeah,
he can't even be asked to throw a tarp over it.
No, he just fucking leaves it. Just fucking leaves it and fucks off.
So you get that, and then you get the song, which again, I that always pops up in my head every now and again. That's supposed to live. And you get the Hogan lyric, I wouldn't want to visit. All this sort of stuff. Again, yet more fucking casual racism from Hogan. Great, can't fault it. So you get that, and they're all taking the piss because of the way he's dressed and all the rest of it, because it's the 90s and everyone's dressed like a fucking Dapper Dan, obviously. Everybody's too cool for school, so seeing him walking through in his fucking space boots, that's the thing that tips them off.
But when he walks about in skin-tight lycra later on, that's absolutely fine.
Back so we get that. And we get a thing where they try to give him a bit more character, because now all of a sudden they do this thing with the dog. And all of a sudden, we've seen no evidence of it so far, but all of a sudden he now has empathy. So he gets the dog out of the car and stuffs the owner in. And steals his clothes. Well, that's as well. So no, he's not that much of a decent guy. He nicks the guy's fucking clothes.
Yeah, I mean, some of that stuff, though, is... the stuff of him fucking around is good. I like all of that. I do like it.
It works. It works. And you could tell that all the descriptions I've read of it, and it'd be on Wiki or on when I got it on iTunes, it all talks about him being fairly dim-witted. Well, he's not. He's just out of his depth. He's in a place he doesn't understand. So I kind of get that, and the whole thing of him discovering where he is and how things work, that's fine. The bit where he fucks up the vending machine, so all of a sudden all the quarters start raining out, that's all fine. That all works really well. Even the bit with the dog, to a point, works fine. But it's just like, why does he steal his clothes?
Yeah, I mean, it's hardly give me your clothes, your boots, and your motorcycle, is it?
Yeah, exactly. I'll strip you naked, put a muzzle on you, and let the dog have your dinner. That's not quite the same.
Yeah, it doesn't really make any sense.
And it doesn't even make him look cool, because he's in a fucking vest, a fishing tank top, and a pair of shorts.
I mean, it's also a very public mugging. Literally, it's like, let's just walk through this quickly. You would have had to break into the dude's car, get the dog out, accost the dude, strip him naked, throw him in the car, and put the dog on, don't forget. Yeah, put the dog at the table, and then presumably fuck off without paying because he hasn't got any money. So he's committed I don't know how many felonies.
And also get changed out of his space gear into the dude's fucking hot pants.
True. Plus, so public exposure as well. So
and then go back and stash the fucking the spacesuit before he goes anywhere else.
Yeah. Like I said, logic, not the strong point of this film. No
Well, I've
narrative
got a better
structure.
one than that coming up as well.
Oh, there's plenty of them. One of the ones that really bugs me, and it actually pays off in the end, and they make a point of seeing it and paying off, but I don't understand what's happening. When we're first introduced to Christopher Lloyd, on his way home from work, there's this running gag of him with traffic lights.
Yes.
And I don't understand what's supposed to be happening at the traffic lights.
I don't know whether it's supposed to portray him as some sort of loser or whatever it is, but for whatever reason, it's just boring. It's like, okay, he's going to have a drag race. He's going to do something. Oh, no, he's not. He's going to drag race. Oh, no, he's not.
I get all that. Like, he's gonna go for it, but he hasn't got the bottle and stuff like that. And then he's the.
But it's entirely pointless. We've already seen that. Well, we already see that with him with
in the office. Yeah.
With the boss.
But it's not even that. I get what they're trying to tell us and the fact that it's not needed. What I don't get is why everybody else races off, as does he. He's off the mark. Then the lights change, and he stops and reverses back.
Well, yeah, that's the whole reversing thing that made no
Who
sense to me
does
either.
That?
I know.
Yeah,
if you're halfway through, you just fucking
You've
go.
Committed, you go. Like, that's perfectly legal. You passed the line. You've committed. And then, look, maybe the laws of the sort of road are different in America, but I'm pretty sure they're not. I'm pretty sure if you're through, you carry on going, because the most dangerous thing you could do in that situation is exactly what he does.
Yeah, you hit the brakes and go backwards.
Yeah,
it doesn't make any sense. You're right. So I mean that you get that, and then there's another logic gap where Hogan's character finds a flyer for an apartment with an arrow on it.
Yes.
So he takes it like he's following a fucking compass.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, hang on, that bit of paper ain't changing, mate.
I mean, there's also the whole thing that Shelley Duvall has literally converted their garage into an apartment without Christopher Lloyd realizing anything.
In an afternoon.
Despite him being a fucking architect.
Yeah. And
I think you probably noticed.
Well, yeah, and like you get the whole thing again, like, where you first introduced to her and she's like, trying to bully him into going asking for a raise. I'm not being funny. Who goes and asks for a raise?
Yeah.
Because all that happens is you fuck people off.
Yeah.
They'll tell you to fuck off, and then when they're looking at redundancies or restructuring and all the rest, so hang on, he's that greedy fucker who told us we weren't paying him enough. We'll tell you what, we'll pay him fuck all. Let's get rid of him.
Yeah.
That's not how life works. Because, excuse me, boss man, I want a raise. You accepted your contract, you took your job. You can't. It's and we all do. We all bitch about the fact we could do with being paid more, but by and large, you make your choice, don't you? You take it or you don't. If you've taken it, you can't then turn around and say, "Oh yeah, no, I should have got more."
This is very much a film thing, isn't it? Where people just go and ask for raises. Like, no, this is
I'll ask for promotions.
Yeah, this is not how it works. You get a promotion, you'll get a raise. Yeah, but you need to be in the running to get that promotion. You don't just go, oh, do you know what? I need more money. No, that's not how things work.
We all need more fucking money.
Yeah, that's not how things work. But getting back to this, actually, I think all of this sort of comes together. So we've talked. I've got some notes about the dog thing here, but we've already talked about that. Like, because the thing I've written here is, besides all of the stuff we just talked about being illegal, like how the fuck do the clothes fit?
Well, yeah, because
Hulk Hogan's a fucking giant.
Well, I was gonna say he's my height. He's the same height as me, similar weight but an entirely different shape.
Yeah, he's a fucking giant. Like, how the hell does this average Joe's clothes fit?
Not even average Joe. He looks like if he's
a schlub. Yeah.
If it's 6 foot is a push, but also he's about my build, my fucking shape as well.
Yeah, there's no way the clothes would fit.
No.
But then there's also, in this opening with him walking through the town and stuff like that, there's all these shots of like the kids running along, following him, and obviously they're supposedly doing it because he's wearing the power armor and stuff, and he looks a bit weird. Yeah. But the kids are clearly following him and overjoyed at the fact that they're in a scene with Hulk fucking Hogan.
Yes, exactly.
Watching these kids is joyous. Like, it is actually joyous watching them all run. They're having the fucking time of their lives because they're running around chasing Hulk Hogan around. It's fucking amazing. Nobody's acting. They're just all utterly starstruck by the fact that that's Hulk Hogan, which is really fucking. It looks like the opening to Rock and Wrestling. Sans the woman falling over.
Yeah.
But yeah. So. I quite like all of the kind of knocking about stuff, with him sort of change it, breaking the machine and, locking the guy in the car and stuff like that. That's fine. All good. And then we follow Chris Lloyd home for a bit as well. Then we get the traffic light thing. And then we get like the most A+ reverse parking job I've ever seen in my life that could only ever happen in a film.
Yeah.
Like, It's like
97 takes later.
It's like stunt driver reverse parking. It's unbelievable. So fair play to him for that. Then I think this is where we get our first proper introduction to Shelley Duvall, who's barely in this film.
Yeah.
Despite having, reasonably high up bill. I think she's something like third in the credits.
Yeah.
But I mean, God fucking damn, I love Shelley Duvall. She's far too good for this.
Yeah, that was one of my big problems with this. Like, what the fuck is she doing here?
Yeah, like what the hell? However, in this, all I can think, my love of Buffy the Vampire Slayer has been widely talked about on this podcast and others, but she has big Willow energy for this whole fucking film. That's all I can think about when I see her in this. Yeah. She's just got big Willow energy. Like that's all she is to me, is grown up Willow in this. But she's good. It's fine. But none of this makes any sense. As you say, she reveals that she's converted the garage into an apartment.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, like, Shep just shows up at the door. Like, does
with
that
his flyer
happen?
compass in hand.
Yeah, does that happen in real life? I don't fucking think so.
I mean, this is the late 80s, early 90s. People were more trusted then, so they would put the address of the apartment on the fucking flyer, presumably.
Yeah, I guess. But they
invite him in. Call ahead, did he?
No. He moves in with them. They invite him in. They have dinner, and we have this kind of getting to know him kind of thing. And this is one of the biggest problems I think I have with the film watching it now, is there's clearly like the setup of him trying to fit in the family, and that I think could work. It's a different kind of film.
Yeah.
But I think that could work. But we kind of, as we get towards sort of the end of what passes for Act 2, they just jettison that completely. Yeah. And just focus on him and Christopher Lloyd, and I feel like that it's weaker because of that. I feel like the thing of him actually, I mean, it's called Suburban Commando. The thing of him trying to fit into this and have that holiday, and then face basically an Earth threat, I think would be a far better film than what we get. I think there's more comedy in it. I certainly think, when you see him in this scene at the dinner table, and you've got that kind of sort of he doesn't quite fit kind of scene going on. He's clearly not from around here. Like, I think there's more charm that comes through in Shep's character in this scene than in most of the rest of the film put together. Like, unfortunately, again, Hogan not a great actor, so I think more could be made of that with a better actor. I remember reading many years ago, as usual, done no research specifically for this podcast, but as I say, this is a film I watched many times. I remember reading many years ago, this was originally a vehicle for Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito before Twins came along.
They passed on this to go and do Twins instead.
And you could definitely see how much more charming this would be with Arnie sitting here,
you're right.
rather than Hogan.
And the thing is as well, I mean, you could, as you said, it would be a different type of film, but if you were to think of an E.T. or a Bigfoot and the Hendersons type of thing, they're after him because whether it's
because he's an alien,
Earth
is after him.
Yeah, whether it's Earth after him, or even if it is fucking other aliens after him, the whole thing of them banding together to get him away, that is the mission. The mission is to get him to escape.
Yes.
That means something. That has a bit more threat to it. Whereas this, it's just like, oh, well, okay, there's some dudes after me. Okay, but we've already seen you kick the shit out of everybody else. So
that's the problem. There's no threat. He's a one-man army. And also I feel like we haven't had enough bonding between him and the family before that. Like, they do the basic work, like, he helps out the kids and stuff like that. So they do the basic work of why they don't like him. But I feel like we need to see this relationship evolve. You need to have them all think he's a bit weird at first, and then everybody come around, and then he needs to be a part of the family before he is by the end, but he needs to be a part of the family before the start of Act 3, basically. So that when the pressure's on, they will all give their lives to him. They have to get Shep home because he's one of them. And that never really comes through. But we do pretty much straight away now. They set the bounty hunters off after him for no good reason other than he's the good guy and they're bad guys.
Yeah, they need an antagonist. So,
and the weirdest thing about this film, not now for me, but certainly as a kid, I could never wrap my head around the fact that the Undertaker was one of the bounty hunters. It was fine that Hulk Hogan was Shep Ramsey. That I could work out, because Hulk Hogan is Hulk Hogan, and he's Hulk Hogan playing Shep Ramsey. but the Undertaker was such a. I mean, he was such a heightened character. He was so cartoonish in his in-ring persona that to then see him step out of that and play something else, I was like, "What? Hang on, no, that's the Undertaker. They hate each other. They can't be in a film together."
Well,
like,
yeah.
If he'd have been playing the Undertaker in this, fine.
Yeah.
But he wasn't, and I couldn't.
But the thing is,
as a kid, I couldn't wrap my head around that.
I think the problem is, well, this was made in this came out in 91, so
yeah,
this would have been probably shot the end of 90 when Undertaker first appeared. So everybody would have anybody who was going to see this film would have been a wrestling fan. So everybody would have known who Hogan was, and everybody would have gone, "Hang on, that's the fucking Undertaker. Why is he? How's he in this?" And I think it was detrimental to him just because of he was in the middle of a feud with Hogan at the time, that he went in playing. They both went in playing other people.
Yeah,
and we've talked about this. No, obviously we've talked about this before with Disney as an example, where the likes of Mickey Mouse are character actors and they go and play other things. And it's the same. It's the same with the wrestlers. They will play character. They're playing characters, but because it's them being sold as Hulk Hogan playing somebody else.
Yeah,
you then you can't reconcile that part of the world whereby Hulk Hogan could be playing someone else, but somebody who plays another character alongside him normally isn't themselves.
It doesn't work because it's not Terry Bollea playing Shep Ramsey, however you pronounce his fucking name. I'm pretty sure that's close.
Fair enough.
It's Hulk Hogan playing Shep Ramsey. So yes, you're right. It's the same as Mickey Mouse or Donald Duck playing something. It's a fictional character playing another fictional character. It's in the same way that, with The Rock plays characters, and occasionally Dwayne Johnson plays characters.
I think he's transitioned away from The Rock now, isn't he?
Yeah. But when, for instance, he first started his career, WWE had a field day on that and really made it work, because he came back with an in-ring persona where all of a sudden The Rock was a Hollywood superstar. And he came back in and he wore his shades and played his guitar in the middle of the ring. And he had a sort of they tried to give him a heel turn, but he was too popular by that point. Yeah. So everybody just ended up lapping it up. But they made that work. And they could do that with Hogan as well. You can't do that with The Undertaker because he's such a heightened character. Yes. There's no way that The Undertaker would play anything, because it's why the whole American Badass thing never worked for me either, because Taker is Taker. It's as simple as that. That gimmick is so strong.
Yeah,
that
that's the reason that gimmick can do it for 30 years, more or less.
Yes, exactly. So it just really struck me as weird as a kid. However, having said all of that, obviously I'm older now. I realise he's a real person. I realise that Undertaker.
Well, he spent 30 years hiding it, didn't he?
Yeah, he's fucking excellent. He's genuinely fucking excellent. He's way better than Hogan. I mean, granted, he doesn't speak, and when he does, he's overdubbed. But he's excellent. Like, he's got real physicality. Like, he understands the comedy of it as well.
This is the thing, and I think this is something that even early on in his WE or WF career, he always had that physicality, but he had that presence. But you always got the impression also, he was playing a character there. He was going into that as an actor as well as an athlete. So you kind of got that. Whereas most other people who broke away, they were athletes, so they were professional wrestlers who were then trying their hand at acting. Whereas because he had to play such an intense character anyway, it didn't really matter to him. And as that's gone on, I mean, it's only last year he retired, but as that's gone on, and he's maintained that character, he maintained kayfabe for 28 years or whatever it was. He's never broken away from that.
No,
and again, that shows how good he is and how capable he is of doing that.
He's fucking excellent, and now he's retired. Like, I genuinely think the guy's got a career now playing like grizzled old Western veterans.
Yeah, veterans. I don't know if you saw. I know you've not watched Product recently, but WrestleMania last year he did. They did a couple of cinematic matches. And he did a match with AJ Styles, which was really good. There's very much in the storytelling. There was very much a sort of Clint Eastwood.
Yeah, he could have an entire another 10 years doing that easily. Yeah. He's got real fucking presence. He's one of the best things in the film. So yeah, he's really good. But my next note that we've already talked about, like, I don't really know why they're after Shep, other than Shep's the good guy and they're the bad guys.
Well, because the impossible explosion that should have that obliterated that ship.
Yeah.
Because he put like 15 million grenades in it, didn't actually kill the dude it was supposed to kill.
Yeah, I get it. So now he wants revenge.
So now he wants
but,
revenge, right? But again, it's that logic thing. When he popped up, said, hang on, aren't you dead?
Yeah,
Because
and it's
literally your ship got blown into 15 billion pieces.
yeah, and it's also the thing of like, okay, I get that, so that's revenge, but there's there's not enough agency then in the story for Shep to be the one that's being hunted
Yeah,
because he doesn't need anything. Shep has no interest in any of this other than to survive, and he hates Earthlings, so he wouldn't give a shit if they destroyed the planet.
yeah, exactly.
Like,
As long as he's
whereas
not on it at the time.
all of the agency is with our bad guys because they need to find Shep.
Yeah.
So the actual forward momentum in the story is with them, and it's all a bit topsy turvy. Whereas in the meantime, then we get, and again, really works, and I prefer this version of the film. We get for Shep, we get this little triptych then of him watching a TV show with Shelley Duvall, not understanding it. Then the mailman comes. Then the paperboy comes, and it's fucking good, really good stuff. Like it's really
and again,
funny.
That's
the
the fish out of water stuff is brilliant.
Yeah, it's really, really good. And like I said, Hogan's actually, for as much as he can't emote for shit, he's got really good comedy chops. You've got to give it to him. Like, he is funny. His timing is really good. His facial expressions are just the right side of pitch into the stalls for comedy. They're no good for anything else. But, he blows his cheeks out and the tash starts to wobble and he goes all bulgy-eyed. Like, good. The paperboy gag is, like, I genuinely laughed out loud at. I thought it was really, really good. And then we get this thing with the fucking traffic lights again.
Yeah.
Like, and again, this is the second time now, so they're clearly building towards something, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Why are you reversing? This makes no sense. So it pulled me straight out of it. More fish out of water stuff. I'm sort of whizzing through this now just because there is little to talk about story-wise here, so we've got to kind of look at the technicality of it all. But this is where we get sort of the starting to bond now with kind of Hogan and Chris Lloyd, where he comes back and he can't park again.
Yeah.
So Hogan kind of picks up the dragster.
Yeah, and you get this whole scene, and it's the second time we've seen him as well with the Colonel.
Yes.
And not the good Colonel with the chicken, but dude in a crazy dude in a battle helmet.
Yeah, so they're talking because they get on because they're soldiers. Yeah. So that's
Yeah, that was just another one of those. You think, hang on, you're just kind of burning through film here. You're burning screen time. That's it. I mean, I would have preferred, and the stuff you had there was fine, but I would have preferred, given how much stock they put on later, they really did need to play. They need to play up how much Christopher Lloyd's boss was putting upon him. They need to give him a reason to want to rip him off. They've alluded to the fact that he was taking credit for his work and stuff like that. I mean, we've all had a boss who does that. Everybody's got that cunt boss somewhere who goes, "Oh yeah, no, that's I appreciate all the work you're doing," and then as soon as your back's turned, it's, "Oh yeah, I've done this, I've done that." We've all had that. We've all been there. That's just a part of life, and you deal with it or you don't. But for me, they don't spend enough time building up any animosity between the two of them. No. So when it comes to their confrontation at the end, I'm like, okay, well, yeah, fine, whatever. I don't really care.
I mean, that's part of the problem, I think, not just with that relationship, but in general throughout the script, is it feels like a collection of scenes. And we've had this when we've watched films before. This feels like, and what we're getting now is, this is the point where Chris Lloyd and Hogan kind of bond. Then but we haven't had enough of the two of them at odds yet. Like it's only been one night, really. Like it needs to be like, sitcom levels of annoyance. Christopher Lloyd practically needs to be drawing the fucking chalk line down the house and being like, that's your garage, this is my house, you stay away from my family. It's like Hogan needs to do something wrong first, almost.
Yeah, to redeem himself almost.
And this is him kind of saying, look, I'm not all bad, sort of thing. Or it needs something like that for this odd couple relationship, which is where we're going to go with this.
Yes.
For that to really cement. I feel like this is all happening too quickly. But, what we do get works. It's just that it's not enough of the stuff earlier. And actually, it does lead to, I think, probably the genuinely funniest moment in the film. It's a great fucking line as well. And the build up to it's perfect. He gets out, he moves the fucking dragster.
Yeah.
Then he goes over and you get the 3 or 4 guys all square up to him. They're all big dudes, and of course he's fucking Hulk Hogan. So whatever, he just stands up tall, puffs his chest down. He's like, "What are you gonna do about it?" And he's like, "Well, it's the '90s. We're gonna sue you."
Yeah.
And it's just really, really subverting expectation.
It is. It's a really
funny.
It's a really nice scene. And then, but again, his reaction to it, what sort of planet is this? It's like, again, it's like, it's a nice touch because he's expected everywhere he goes. It's all
it's
battle
that
and
fish out of water
yeah.
again.
It's that thing of hang on. If you come here in the 80s, yes, they'd have pounded your face. They'd have beat you with an inch layer. All the stuff he said. I can't remember what the line was. It was fairly awful. And yeah, that would have been damn right. We're going to do that. And then you've had a fight where you throw somebody through a window, or
Well,
you snap somebody in half over the dragster. Sort of, you'd have that sort of thing. Whereas actually, you get the gag about them suing him. He's like, I don't even know where I am. Like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, that's it. It works really well. And then, very shortly after that, we get sort of more of the fish out of water stuff. It's like they front load it all, but like he starts to hear stuff sort of going off when the kids are in the arcade and stuff like that. Yeah. And like he sort of goes into action mode again. And the thing is that he's a shit actor. We've said this, right? There's no and he overacts terribly.
Yeah.
But there is absolutely no denying the fact that seeing him hulk up and just run into action is never not awesome.
Yeah, and that's the only reason anybody went to watch this film. Let's be fair. Nobody gave a fuck about
that's the only reason anybody watched him in the fucking ring. Like you didn't, because he's got.
Not because he could fucking wrestle.
His work rate was fucking terrible, but the second he just fucking starts overacting and undersells everything and just hulks up and out comes the finger and he starts. It is amazing. Like it is amazing, and it's never not fun to watch.
Yeah. I've got a question as well, actually, with the arcade. What sort of fucking build quality was on that machine?
I know, right?
Just randomly catches fire. It's like, hang on.
Yeah.
That's some sort of health code violation, I'm sure.
Yeah, but I remember those machines specifically as well, because it's like an afterburner machine. I think it might even have been afterburner.
I think it was.
They had
label.
Yeah, and they had like this plane style joystick.
Yeah, with the trigger and
it was really fucking heavy and clunky. So like that's got the build quality. That's a Sega fucking best unit there.
Yeah.
But
miswired it, or somebody snapped it up. But again, more like he's gonna snap the joystick. He's not gonna catch the fucking thing on fire, is he?
No, exactly. But whatever. I'll let it. It's not the most egregious thing that happens in this fucking film, is it? True. In terms of fucking science. But we get all of these little snippets again and again. This is all good, apart from logic gap number 10 million, particularly when it's coming from Hogan, who's remember his character is all about training and being the best and being fit and train hard, say your prayers, take your vitamins. So he knows all about fitness and everything. Who the fuck goes jogging in jeans? Who does that? Like that? What?
No,
that's just not. Think of the chafing, especially when you're as big as he is.
Well, that's it. I mean, I have done it, but generally because I've been caught out and I'm like, oh shit, I need to run out now. Certainly with number one when she's on a bike, she just fucks off now because she's a lot faster than me.
But that's different. That's like
so now all of a sudden I've got to run.
Yeah.
So I've done that, and you can do it for about a minute, and then you say they chafe and they fucking rub and they're heavy.
Yeah.
And you can't do it. You don't get your fucking workout
properly. No, you wouldn't put them on to go for a run. So that's I'm calling bullshit on that. However, we then get the thing with the mime, and look, punching mimes always good as far as I'm concerned. Always it's never not going to be funny whenever you punch a mime. So happy with that.
Clowns, siblings, always on board with that.
Yeah, always on board with that. Then we get the arcade scene, and again, he's legit great. I think in the arcade, it's a funny scene, and even his performance when he takes hold of the joysticks, he starts spouting out all of the fucking action lines, albeit they repeat one of them. Yes. Don't know why. Obviously, they needed to save a cat, but he manages to stay, as I was saying when he hulks up, he managed to stay like just on the right side of overacting in the scene, like. Just manages to pull it in,
and again the gag at the end of it was, you finish the game, or you beat the game, or it was a game. Again, and just his delivery on that, it's so unexpectedly understated after everything we've just had. He's like, what game? What the fuck are you on about?
Yeah,
and it's funny. It works really, really well.
But here's the thing: we've already seen a lot of this fish out the water stuff. Yeah, so.
He needs to be adapted now, doesn't he?
Yeah, it all belongs together, and it feels like he hasn't taken a step forward here. You're right; he needs to start fitting in. Christopher Lloyd finds the spaceship because, of course, he does, because it's not hidden at all. So he just randomly goes and starts poking around, and somehow despite being a fucking architect who's put upon and knows nothing about nothing, somehow he knows exactly what a muscle amplifier is, how to work it, and what it does.
Yeah.
He literally picks it up and goes,
it's this after
"It's a
he's
muscle
already
amplifier."
set the gun off.
I believe it is. Yeah.
So he's already found one bit of really dodgy fucking iffy tech, which he miraculously knows how to use.
Yeah.
I know guns are guns, but still. So when he finds a spaceship, and we've already seen Hogan go through the sequence where where they work out, he's 70% suboptimal and all the rest. So we've seen that, and then again, Chris Lloyd goes in and presses the exact same fucking sequence of buttons just by accident. What are the fucking odds of that?
It needs context. Again, he needs to have been following him for a little while because he's suspicious.
Yeah.
He needs to have seen Hogan push these buttons.
Yeah.
And then he goes in and plays with it, but doesn't.
But again, pushes the same sequence of buttons but gets a different outcome.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't get the computer telling him what battery level he's on, or he gets something else.
This scene just makes no sense whatsoever. It's there because it needs to be there. And like I say, the work hasn't gone in to get us to it. It feels like it almost feels like Game of Thrones writing, where it's kind of like all the bits are there. Like they understand all the bits they need. They're just not doing the work to get them to us, and they're not giving them to us in the right order. However, he does put all the stuff up and go and save a woman, and we get there are some genuinely funny moments in this, and I can't believe I have never noticed this before. I've seen this film probably 6 or 7 times, and as I said last time, about 8 or 9 years ago, when I was definitely old enough to have realized this. I can't believe I didn't. How did I miss the flashing codpiece?
Yeah.
When the woman's like, "Oh, you saved my life. However can I repay you?" And the codpiece just starts flashing. Hilarious. Like lowest common denominator, yes, but
this is the sort of shit we look for.
It's the sort of shit we look for, and it's played expertly by Christopher Lloyd, who is genuinely, for my money, one of the funniest actors in history. I think he's absolutely, his comic timing is impeccable, particularly when he has to be a straight man like this, and he's all curmudgeonly, and just that starts flashing. It's fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
More comedy with Hogan, then more fish out of water stuff. That we get the skateboard scene. Look, it's funny. It's fucking ace. In fact, it's really, really funny. This skateboard scene.
Yeah, and there's a really nice payoff with it later as well.
Yes, all really, really good. But again, we need to be moving away from this now.
Yeah, and the thing that bugged me with this actually is that we get the thing where he's, I'll give it a try, and then he falls off, and my mom can stay on longer than that, so he throws it into, he fucking launches it.
Yeah,
and he growls at them, and they all run off, and then he smiles.
Yeah,
it's like, you're not in a position to be that fucking friendly guy who's pissing about with the kids.
No,
you haven't done the work. This is what I'm saying.
We haven't done the work. No, and actually, the work could have been done for that, just like the work could have been done with having him fit in with the family and have him rub Chris Lloyd up the wrong way. But instead, we had all of the stuff of him punching mimes and doing the stuff in the arcade, and that it's all funny. Don't get me wrong, but it feels like it's a collection of skits rather than a load of scenes that hang together to form a narrative.
And I think the problem is, if you're going to do that, then you need another 20 minutes on this film.
Yes, you do. It needs to be longer, and I don't say that very often. Say that.
Yes, it's very rare we say that. No, this comes in at about 95 minutes.
It's very short. It
comes in at 90 minutes, so it's more or less on the money lengthwise. Because by the time you put your credits on, you're probably talking 85 minutes.
Yeah.
So it's pretty much on the money lengthwise. But actually, they spent so long with this Act 1, beginning of Act 2 stuff, where they're setting up the world and setting up the story. That actually you probably need another 20 minutes, which I never say. My normal go-to is they could have taken 20 minutes out of that.
Yep, I agree. And I think you need a bit more time, and it needs more structure as well. That's the thing. You do need both here. But, this is what we get. It is funny, but then more bollocks then, because Shep goes back to his ship and instantly knows not just that someone has fucked with his armor, but that it's Christopher Lloyd fucking with his armor.
Yeah, because who else would it be in an open fucking area?
Again, if if we put the setup into the two of them having this kind of conflict, then you'd go, of course he's fucked with it.
Yeah, of course he'd be following me. Because
it's so easy to build this conflict up. All you do is, and it all ties together. This, you bring him in, you have the fish out of water stuff, but actually, he is quite charming, as we said, and he does a lot for the family, okay, because he's a big dude. So the wife loves him, the kid loves him. Wife and kids all think he's great, whilst Christopher Lloyd is out sweating his nutsack off, in a job where everybody hates him and he's not underappreciated. And so there's a jealousy angle here that's very easy to play.
Yeah.
And they don't reach for it. And it's a shame because it's there on a plate, you know?
Absolutely.
And to be fair, like Christopher Lloyd is playing it. He is playing that. He's just not given the material. But whatever. Then we haven't talked about him yet, other than briefly, but we've got to take a minute just to talk about Larry Miller because he's a fucking legend.
Yes.
Like, yes, he's typecast, but what an absolute legend. Yeah, one of my favorite lines in the piece from him. But now you're a motorboat. Absolutely fucking genius.
Yeah, no, I'd missed that one actually.
And a lot of it comes from his performance. I don't know if it was ad-libbed or not. It feels like it is, but there are very few people that could have just sold it as well. But now you're a motorboat. Absolutely hilarious. He's great every time he's on screen. Just his energy is fantastic. Just really, really good. And it's handy, you know, when things are so paper thin. And as you say, when there's definitely not enough sort of go into the build up of the animosity between those two. It's so great that you have such a instantly sort of hateable character, if you like, and you've got the energy that he's putting into it.
I mean, the thing that for me that they should have had is they needed more. And again, this would come into that extra 20 minutes that they needed. But thinking of I can't remember his name, but the boss in National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
Yes, yeah,
that's where you need to go with it. You need Christopher Lloyd to be so fucking downtrodden.
Yeah,
and so. No, he's getting it at home because his wife thinks his wife realizes he's underappreciated and overutilized and all the rest of it. So you've got that. You've got the boss who takes the piss. You've got the family who are relying on him because we don't really spend much time with the family either. We don't really see the kids.
This is what I was saying. We don't spend any time with them, and they are the key to this. We have to because both of our leading couple, then Hogan and Christopher Lloyd, they're kind of bonding together is for the family.
Yeah,
that's the common denominator. So we have to understand their relationship, and the animosity that comes between them in the beginning has to stem from them as well.
Yes, exactly.
And it doesn't, and that's the piece that's missing.
It is, and I mean, I'm thinking about it. I mean, the kids are on. I mean, the daughter certainly is only in like 3 scenes.
Yeah,
there's the one right at the beginning where Christopher Lloyd's in the garage working. She said, "No, Mom says don't forget you got to go to work." Then there's the one where Hogan carries the 2 kids and saying, "Are these yours?" And then there's the end where
they're all together.
Where they're all together, and Christopher Lloyd has to hand Shep over to save his family. So there's so much they could have done there. And again, going back to that National Lampoon model, where you think, right, all the bits are in there. You've got the dickhead boss, you've got the overbearing family, you've got the. I mean, if you replace fucking the cousin Dennis, it's not Dennis Quaid, it's Randy Quaid, isn't it?
Yeah.
You replace him with Hulk Hogan. Job done.
Yeah.
And you've got all your elements there, but it's just like they're afraid to pull the trigger on it and actually do it.
Yeah, and again, I feel like that's something that would come through more had we had sort of the original casting of Schwarzenegger and DeVito, because I feel like probably more money would have been put behind this. They certainly, as performers, both of them would have been given more leeway to do what they want to do as well. So. And I feel like we would have spent more time, like when you've got, especially at this time in the late 80s, which is when it would have been with those two, both of those are very expensive performers. So if you're paying
the
for
total
them,
budget on this was only 11 million. I mean,
I was going to say that wouldn't have paid for Schwarzenegger, right? So if you're paying for them, you are putting them on screen every possible second that you can. So I think that relationship would have worked a lot better. But nevertheless, you're dead right. That is exactly the problem with the film, as I say, I alluded to earlier. That is the key problem here, is we don't spend enough time with the family because they're the key to unlocking everything.
Yeah.
But then, for reasons, the two of them decide to get together and go searching for the power armor because it's giving off a fucking signal because Chris Lloyd's admitted it, and now all of a sudden Hogan gives a fuck about Earth apparently.
Yeah. But again, it's if you're gonna deliver it the way you're delivering it, it's not that he gives a shit about it. He gives a shit because he's gonna get caught because of it.
Yeah.
But it's not played either way. It's kind of played. Well, now also there's danger, but danger to who? Danger to you? Danger to Christopher Lloyd? It's like, oh, well, no, it's just dangerous.
it needs to be danger to the family.
Yeah.
That's, and again, because we haven't had that and it's missing, this all feels a bit superfluous. However, again, the actual mission part of it, what is now going to be our Act 2 then, latter
Yeah.
half of Act 2 and takes in Act 3, is good. And the
Yeah.
two of them together, actually, you know, they don't have a lot of chemistry at all. In fact, they've got none. But you know, the two of them together just about manage to muddle through it. You know, we get the stuff like, there's a great scene between them where they go looking for the thing first of all, and they get out what is clearly a repurposed PKE meter.
Yeah.
Clearly they've bought that. It's just come out the prop shop and they've
Yeah.
just changed it. It's clearly a PKE meter. But after they fucked around looking for things, they pull it out and scan it, and Chris Lloyd just turns to him and says, "Well, why didn't we use that in the first place?"
Yeah.
And Hulk just turns around and says, "Shut up." Like, it's really, really good. Like, it's quite meta as well. They literally, like, that is the audience going, "Why didn't you just do that?"
It is, and that's probably the most frustrating thing about the film.
Yeah.
Is that I mean, we've talked for the best part of an hour already about things that haven't worked, but actually, when you put the two of them in a scene where they just go, "Don't be a dick,"
Yeah.
it really works. It's funny.
They get away with it. Yeah.
It's funny. It's charming enough. There's enough about the characters to go, "Oh, for fuck's sake. You know he's right. Just punch him in the arm and get on with it." But they don't do enough of that. So they try to build up this whole thing whereby there's this fucking existential threat from the Undertaker and fucking Tony Longo going, "Oh, actually, yeah, you know what? They're going to find me now." Well, so what?
Yeah.
What happens if they find you? What are the consequences? What happens if they find you? Are they going to hand you over? Are they going to kill you? Are they going to attach you to a fucking lamppost and strip you naked? What? No, what happens?
I think what they're reaching for with the two of them, like I said, they are good together, but they just don't have enough chemistry.
No, they don't.
To make up for the lack of story. If the story had gone in, then the chemistry would have something to grow from, and I think both of them need that to get there. Whereas, for instance, you know, you get easy chemistry between Schwarzenegger and DeVito in Twins, or what they're going for here really is you kind of going for Riggs and Murtaugh again, and you just, that is magic, that chemistry. And when you have two actors that have chemistry like that, yes, you can get away with next to no fucking story. You just give them a MacGuffin and go, off you go, fucking carry on, because you'll just watch them all day fucking long. But they haven't got that, so we need the story to get this there. Because, as you say, actually, when they do manage to have those moments, and when they do pay off in the context of a scene, they work really well. That is a good gag. Why didn't you just do it in the first place? And Hogan just grouching at him, "Shut up, yeah, just shut up." Really good. And then, you know, we get the thing then where they're all, and I think it's a bank they're in or whatever, it's some building, and he's going like, "Who's got the thing? We want the thing," and what have you. And Hogan just wanders out and says, "I'm the one that wants the thing back." And there's, you know, just playing off the way they're all talking about it. And then, again, he's genuinely funny when he's allowed to just be, like, just tread on the line of, like, this is cheesy, this is stupid, but I'm Hulk Hogan, so I can get away with it.
Yeah.
And if you're buying that, like, the anti-freeze gag is fucking great. Where they're shooting him with a freeze gun and the cloud clears and he's just drinking it down. He just snarls at them and goes, "Anti-freeze." It's funny. It's really fucking funny, like, genuinely. But there's, like, again, why is any of this happening is the problem. It's just a collection of funny things happening. Well, and if I want that, I'll watch a fucking sketch show.
Well, that's it. And like, even where you get beyond this part, and then all of a sudden you get the two bounty hunters burst into the vault, and he locks them in the vault. Again, that's funny, but again, we've just seen him break through a wall. Yeah. So, you know, why do we not see the follow on from that? Are they now trapped, or do they just go, "Oh, fuck it, he's closed the door, we're going to go the other way"?
Yeah, I mean, it's also like, this is the first time we've really seen him do anything as well. The bounty hunters, like, we've seen we've seen them at the start. We see the skateboard go flying past them, which is a really good payoff when they come into it. But then, like, in order to build the threat of them as well, bear in mind that we've seen that Shep is basically a fucking one-man arsenal. Like, we need to see them be horrible to Earth people first.
But no, we need them to be horrible. We need to see them before they get to Earth being really fucking vicious.
Yeah, and we need to see him use that freeze gun, because Hogan tells us about it. He tells about it, it'll freeze you and you'll have a really bad headache and stuff like that. Yeah. We need to see it. We need to see them freeze somebody so we understand that is a threat.
And actually, rather than saying, "Oh, he'll be fine, he'll have a really bad headache when he wakes up," what we need is to see that used in action.
Yes.
because as it stands, it's just like, oh well, yeah, thanks Basil. No, we'll take the exposition and run with it.
Exactly, and it would have been very easy to have set that up in the
Yeah.
opening. Somebody could have got shot with that freeze gun in the opening.
Yeah, in the Star Destroyer.
Yeah, the president, for instance, or whatever he is that Hogan's saving, and then he could throw him out after they've escaped. And we could, while we're having that initial conversation, we could understand then that, oh, it was a freeze gun and you'll be fine, but really bad headache and stuff like that.
Yeah. Oh, that was the other thing that bugged me with the opening as well. Actually, going back to that, when he's talking to fucking Basil Exposition, who tells him to go and take a holiday. He said, "Oh, nobody blames you for the death of the president." So, hang on.
Yeah,
why not?
Yeah,
you said he was sent in to fucking rescue him, and he died.
Yeah,
whose fault is it?
Whereas it would have been much better if he'd frozen him, got him out, defrosted him. But of course, then they would have had to work out how Hogan gets to Earth without. No, better still, send the president to Earth in his frozen form. It takes X amount of weeks for him to thaw out. He's got to protect him now.
Yeah, he's got to go. He's got to keep him safe. Got to go bring him back.
Yeah, much better. Or like, yeah, in his crash landing, the president goes missing.
Yeah,
and now he's got it. Now you've got a MacGuffin, right?
Yeah,
there were so many easy fucking gimmies here.
Yeah.
We get the worst delivery we've had in a film on this podcast to date from Hogan coming up here, where he just says, "Oh no, down," literally like, "No, get down, no, look out, oh no, down."
That's like when you're giving somebody directions on a game, and it's like, go up there. No, not there, down.
Yeah. Well, there's not even that much emotion in it. He literally just goes, "Oh no, down." Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it almost feels like an overdub, and he just forgot what he was supposed to say, and they put him in front of him, and he just went, "Oh no, down. Yeah, that'll do, Hulk. Fine. Yeah. We're paying you way too much for this."
Yeah, Vince wants you back. Let's just fucking get you out of here.
Yeah. So then we get like this. This is his first encounter with the bounty hunters. Chris Lloyd gets frozen and what have you. But then this is then our kind of midpoint of the film, our mid-act 2, and Shep realizes now that he needs to fight for Earth. Like, we get the speech where he needs to fight. He needs to fight these guys off. Okay, but why?
Yeah. What happens if you don't?
Agency. Yeah, he has no agency. So
because if he's that concerned about Earth, back off.
Yeah.
Go somewhere else.
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense. And there's the thing with the crystals, and apparently the crystals are going to help him get home and stuff like that, right? Fine, but then somebody else needs to be trying to steal the crystals, so they get
somebody needs to be trying to stop him.
Yeah, rubbish. So I mean, the only person that tries to stop him is the fucking secretary, basically, when they wander in. And
who obviously, when you're at a fucking black tie ball, has got a fucking 45 on her.
Oh, obviously. And again, bear in mind, we have had some genuinely funny lines in this film. Yeah. I'm sorry, but I cannot give them a pass for, well, if it isn't Fred and Barney. Really? Like, that's the best we can do. They don't even look. That makes no sense. They don't even look physically like Fred and Barney. They aren't in rags. They aren't, like, if anything, Hogan's the opposite of a Flintstone. Yeah. He's a fucking space warrior.
He's a fucking Jetson.
Yeah, exactly. No,
but
it's like literally they needed a line for him. They needed like, we need a double act quickly. Like they might as well have just said, if it isn't fucking Tom and Jerry, like it makes just as much sense.
If it isn't Laurel and Hardy, so well at least they were fucking slapstick geniuses.
Yeah, genii. Yeah.
I
don't know,
but no, there's a double act that would be. It's just as recognizable, but it has some sense of context because they're bumbling fucking idiots at this point.
And it, if you are going to go to the point of just pulling out a random pop culture icon like that, surely you at least make it relevant to the time. Like, this is the early 90s. Surely you just go
relevant to the genre. You kind of you make a fucking again a meta joke.
Yeah, exactly. So it's either you go for something like you say, like the Jetsons or something like that, or I don't know who's famous double acts in pop culture at this time. I don't know. Was it early 90s? I don't know. Nothing's coming. No. Kid and Play, something like that. I don't know. Like, but do you know what I mean? Just something along those lines.
Or you go down the fucking wrestling aspect and give it a fucking tag team or something.
Something is said about tag teams. I didn't write it.
There's a tag team later on when he's fighting the bounty hunters.
That's right. Yeah.
He drops a lift on Tony Longo, and then comes.
You didn't tell me it was a tag match or something like that. Yeah.
So I mean, but again, that's a terrible gag. But at this point where the secretary's there, that's the perfect time for it. I mean, no, I mean, you've got plenty of tag teams were a thing then, whereas now it's they're kind of pissed away. But there was a big emphasis on a tag division at the time. Fucking
Yeah,
Legion of Doom and Demolition and Powers of Pain and people like that. So fucking throw something at it, which is again, your audience here are fucking wrestling fans.
yeah.
It's gonna mean something to 90% of people watching it. Well, maybe 50%, 50 to 60%, and then the parents watching won't really give a fuck. But it's going to mean something to the people watching the movie.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, in fact, we get that next anyway. That fight with them, don't we? After they kind of infiltrate and the boat lift. And again, my only note I've written here is I know he doesn't speak or anything, but Taker is really very fucking good.
His presence is his comedy is very good as well. Like where he pops up through, he's
very
going
good.
to the ceiling and he pops up into he breaks through the toilets. His presence, his comic physicality is very good. And then they get the gag out of him speaking as well, which
is excellent.
Really well.
The biggest, really good.
The biggest annoyance in this fight is just again, Hogan has Hogan's like Cena. He's got his 5 moves of doom.
Yeah.
But the first one he tries is the double neck chop.
Yeah.
And Tony Lawler just sort of smells at him, and it's like, okay, right, fine. And then the floor goes from underneath him. They have all that gag, and you get Hogan gets the gag about shoddy construction. You get all this sort of stuff, which again, it's a nice little gag about the architects and stuff like that. All works really well, but it's just again, this they're selling this as being a big showdown, and actually, back all happens.
And I mean, it's so easy here. Like if you just put him in the power armor, like you use those boots to shoot him up and drop the leg, like that's all anybody wants.
Well, like, this is it.
How do you not do that?
Well. This is the other thing that made me laugh actually as well, because he gives Christopher Lloyd the armor and said it's good for 2 shots. At this point, it would have been quite useful for Christopher Lloyd. So hang on, I got shot in this yesterday.
Yeah.
So hang on, I've already been shot once.
So it's only good for 1 shot. Yeah, exactly.
Because then you get you can have a bit of back and forth. Hang on, when did you wear it? What? When did you get shot? You get all a nice bit of tension. There's a conflict because Hogan, because Shep could have put this on, and all of a sudden he doesn't realize its usefulness has been cut in half. All this sort of stuff, and it never gets mentioned. Again, it's that logic gap where they just go, fuck it, it's fine.
Yeah. But I mean, at this point, the logic gaps are the least of the problems because now all of a sudden we seem to be on just a freight train to the end of the film.
Yeah.
And it's like, hang on, what does anyone want here? What is happening? Because this is just this is a wrestling match at this point. And in fact, there's less story than a wrestling match.
Yeah.
Because that would have been built up for weeks. This is just a bunch of people kicking the shit out of each other now.
But there's not even any story to the fight. No, it's not as if. Now, if you think of your standard end fight in Rocky, or your end fight in No Holds Barred as an example, your hero needs to get the living fuck kicked out of him. And find that spark to come back. Yeah, this doesn't happen here.
No, not at all.
He tries, and okay, he hits him once and nothing happens. He hits him again and nothing happens. So then he puts him through the floor. Then he puts the other one through the ceiling, but he's never in any peril. The fight is never going against him. So it's very difficult to root for him when he's always fucking winning.
Yeah, I mean, what needs to happen here, and again, it's tropey, but yeah, he needs to be beat down. Then they need to turn on Christopher Lloyd. They have to have him at death's fucking door.
At which point, then he hulks up.
Yeah.
At that point,
and that's what gets him into the fight and makes him realize that actually, no, this guy's my friend now.
But not only that, I mean, that would have benefited from having the work done beforehand, whereby they're not really friends, and they have built up this animosity, and he doesn't give a fuck about him because he's human, or he doesn't give a fuck about the planet, and all of a sudden it's like, oh shit, this guy's gone out on a limb for me. This guy's taken me in. His family been good to me, whatever it may be. He's trying to help me. I need to save him because it's the right thing to do. Yeah. As it is, it's just like, oh well, fucking Hulk Hogan's gonna win this one, then. Yeah, it's fucking finger poke of doom all over again.
Yeah, it goes fucking nowhere. And you mentioned the stuff about the armor as well. They give Christopher Lloyd just after they give him a whole bunch of science exposition in context of this world that he just has to breeze through to
which
explain.
Which every architect knows.
Yeah, well, like he handles it like an absolute pro. I've got to say, like, but Lloyd. And by this point, like, he's made a fucking name for himself doing this. Yes. Like, this is just him putting Doc Brown on for 2 minutes.
Well, this is it. I mean, this is what people who are not interested in wrestling, or people who have gone into this looking for a comedy film, this is what they've gone to see. They've gone to see Doc Brown at this point.
Yes, and we get it for a
This
minute.
would be
Yeah,
between 2 and 3. This would be between Back to the Future 2 and 3, wouldn't it? So people would be looking for him to do this.
Yeah. So yeah, he just spits out a bunch of exposition-y stuff, and then yeah, we're just on the race to the finish. Like next thing you know, we're fighting the big bad. There's a couple of nut shots, which how do you not love a nut shot?
Well, yeah. And that's what's happening to you.
Yeah, but like actually, when the creature reveals himself at the end, like what was it, 11 million? You said this was.
Yeah.
I think they must have spent 10 on the creature because he's.
Well, yeah.
Bearing in mind how shit the effects were earlier, like that's a seriously decent creature that they get. Yeah, like really, really good. Even down to the design as well. Like it's really decent looking.
Yeah.
But it just feels like we're kind of wrapping everything up, but way too early. I don't know what's happening at this point. I'm just like, why is he fighting him again already? What the hell?
Well, I mean, I've got to be honest. I was watching this last night, so I rented it yesterday. I didn't, because we normally record on a Tuesday, and this week we're doing a day early. It was Sunday night. As I got to about 10:30, I thought, oh fuck, I got to watch a film tonight. So I put it. I rented it. I put it on, and we'll get on for midnight by the time I got to the end. I was like, have I missed a bit? So I winding it back and doing the last of 10 minutes again because I was convinced I'd missed something.
No, you don't.
As it turned out, the only thing I'd missed was that extra 10 minutes of my life where I hadn't missed anything. I had to watch it again.
And again, it's just because there's no MacGuffin to push us over that final hurdle. There's no now they've smashed all the crystals because the bad guys come down and smashed them. So now we're all trapped here and he's going to blow up the earth. There's none of that. There's, and it's that simple. It needs something like that. We just need something to push us over that. As it feels like Act 2 just bleeds into Act 3 here because we haven't got the family for everyone to be emotionally invested. We haven't got the MacGuffin of the crystals really because there's never really explained what they do and there's no threat involved with getting them.
Yeah.
So it's just a bunch of fucking fighting. We haven't even really because we don't know where Shep is from before he comes to Earth. We just know that he hates Earthlings. I don't even really feel like there's an impetus for him to go home.
Yeah,
it's just an impetus for him to get off Earth. It's not like he's got another job to do because it's quiet. No. He's got no reason to go. He could stay here if he wanted to.
Yeah, especially now because we get the whole thing. He said, "Oh, I don't do goodbyes." He's obviously he's alone.
That's really nicely seeded.
That is really nice, and that's done really well. But again, you sort of think, well, hang on. He doesn't do goodbyes. He clearly doesn't have any sort of family or any sort of attachment anywhere because he just goes from fucking job to job to job, blowing shit up.
Yeah.
So actually, give him something to root for. Give him something. Give him something to want to stay here for, and then give him a reason why he can't.
Well, this is the thing. He has to go because you could set up the fact because obviously there's the secretary as well, and if the family life with him had been seeded earlier and he'd started to enjoy it and things like that, then you can understand. Yes, he wants to settle down with her, and you could have that moment between him and Chris Lloyd where they're jealous of each other because actually Christopher Lloyd's jealous because he's the big macho space hero and he's getting beaten by his boss, but then actually Ramsey's really jealous because Christopher Lloyd has everything that he could possibly want because he's got a loving family and a home and a career, and so you could have had that moment between them. And then when we get the reveal of the secretary in the ship, instead of that at the end she could be pleading him to stay and he could decide that he's going to stay on Earth and form a life for himself, and then the call comes in. Shep, the galaxy's in danger.
Yeah.
And he's got to go because he's the hero. And then he can whisk her up and take her with him. She can decide to go. And then you sort of get a happy ending because he can go and save the galaxy and he can have his cake and eat it. Yeah. But that's not what happens because none of it's seeded, so none of it can follow through. Even the goodbye that we get at the end, as I say, it's seeded earlier on. Yeah. But it doesn't feel like it's got any kind of real emotional heft because he's only actually saying goodbye to Christopher Lloyd. Even though the whole family are there, it feels like this, the kid should be upset and the wife should be giving him, just fussing over him, making sure he's wrapping up warm. And
he's got enough sandwiches for his trip and all this sort of shit.
Yeah, exactly. It needs to be that. He needs to be leaving something behind.
Yes.
And he's not. And we don't get the suggestion of the transition there as well then is he says goodbye and Chris Lloyd says see you later or whatever, so the kind of slight transference of power there as well, but that doesn't pay off because again we don't get any of the work put in earlier on, so we don't get to see Christopher Lloyd grow as such, other than come in and smack his boss over the head and stuff. Which again would work better if Shep had coached him into that.
Yeah.
You know, it's such a shame, because actually I feel like the bones of a really entertaining film are in this.
Yeah.
And I can't say that I didn't enjoy watching it again. I know it's dreadful for all the reasons that we've said. It is like, some of the performances are atrocious, but for every bad one, there's a good one. Some of the effects are awful, but they are what they are. You know, there's also some, like, even at the end here, before we get to the goodbye thing, they go to great pains to wrap up all the loose ends with Shep. He goes back to the neighborhood, gives the kid the skateboard, gets the cat out of the tree, does all, and then catapults the little girl, which is, again, hilarious. Genuinely funny. You know, nice payoff to earlier on with the cat. So they go to great pains to wrap all of that up. I feel like the comedy writing is here.
Yeah.
I feel like narratively it's not here. There's no story.
Yeah. I mean, the one thing this was the writer, Frank Capella. This is his first credit that I can see.
Right.
So, you know, he knows what he knows what he's doing, and it's just, like I said, the bones are here. It's just, whether it's the bones are here and they've gone, there's too much in that, we need to strip stuff out because we only want 90 minutes, or whether it's like, well, there's stuff there we don't really want to explore. It's going to take too long. It's going to be too, it's going to be too heavy. It's going to change the tone. I mean, no, the guy knows. He clearly knows how a story needs to work, and there seems to be some sort of interference here. I mean, this is his first story. Conversely, it's the director's last. But I mean, he's apparently one of the greatest Western directors ever. But also he did Comanche in 2000, but apart from that, he didn't work after this.
Okay.
But no, he's got a career spanning from the early 50s. So I mean, again, he knows what he's doing. It's competent. There's a payday here, but it's just not. It's just like, it's almost like painted by numbers. It's this what's on the page. This is what I'm going to do, and not really thinking, actually, I need to do this. I need to do that. I need to put more into it. I think that's the disappointing thing, because, as you said, the bones are there, both with what's on the page and what's on the screen. It just feels like, as a viewer, we've been sold short.
Yeah, and I feel like, obviously we'll never know. So this is, as always, just pure guesswork on our part.
Yeah, it's entirely conjecture on our part.
It's entirely conjecture, okay, but it definitely feels like, because all the bones are there, I think you're right. It feels to me like, it would be interesting to read an early script of this, because it feels like, this stuff doesn't just magically fall into place. The writer has to know, like, where these beats come from. Okay, so I believe they're in there, and yeah, you're right. It almost feels like there's some sort of interference, and I wouldn't mind betting again when it was going to be, for instance, Schwarzenegger and DeVito. It still probably would have been pitched as a sort of family comedy, but you may have got away with a 15 maybe, or possibly even a top end of a PG. Whereas as soon as you cast Hulk Hogan, this has to be kid friendly.
Yeah, and it's got to be PG.
And I think maybe, certainly with the action scenes, maybe some of that suffered because of it. Maybe there are a few more darker elements in there with the story. Maybe there's more, it's kind of like the reverse of Howard the Duck, isn't it? Whereas with Howard the Duck, we had like the opposite, where we had all of the beats in place, but then they weren't paying off and they weren't going anywhere. And so it felt kind of weirdly jammed together. This has kind of got all of the payoff, but none of the early sort of beats. So so it's kind of the reverse of that in a way. And again, it just feels like there's been some sort of loss of clarity in the vision there somewhere. And that starts with the screenplay. As always, I bet there is a much more complete screenplay out there than what we get. You'll probably find a certain amount of it as well has been given way to mugging, rather than, there'll be stuff that's written on the page and they'll have ditched that and gone, but look, Hogan's pulling a funny face there. The kids will love that.
Yeah.
There'll probably be a bit of that. I don't know. Again, this is all, but it definitely feels like actually the bones of something really, really good are in here. It's not original, but I think there's the bones of something really, really good. Even, as you say, Hogan's a terrible actor, but he manages to pull this off, it's a shame. I mean, one last point, just narratively before we go too much into wrapping up and stuff like that, though. Our final scene is the traffic lights again.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, okay? Again, writer knows what he's doing. Rule of threes is being seeded. It pays off. But what the fuck is happening? I don't
Yeah.
understand. And it doesn't work as an end because we don't understand what happened earlier on. I
No.
think what needs to happen with these is he needs to bottle it and not go when the lights change, or he needs to be stuck in a kind of rat race traffic jam where everybody edges up to the lights and it always stops when he gets to them.
Yeah.
And whereas this time, because he knows Shep now and he's a bit more kind of macho, this time he puts his foot down, goes around everybody, gets out the fucking gun, and then shoots the traffic lights. So he's fucking, he's grown a bit as a character, but as it is, it just doesn't work.
And the thing is, well, I mean, the whole thing of shooting the traffic lights and blowing up the traffic light unit. Why that instead of giving him a fucking remote control? So he can change it green, and then as soon as he passes it, turn it red to fuck everybody else over.
Yeah.
Why is he going to blow it up?
Or especially because you've got Christopher Lloyd as well. Why doesn't he just all of a sudden press a button and have a flying car?
Yeah. There's so many better things they could do than it's the thing that you see it in various things, and it's comedies in this country where they set fire to or they knock over speed cameras.
Yeah,
it's entirely pointless because all that happens is they'll put it back up, and tomorrow the same thing will happen as normal.
Yeah,
you need a better payoff for it.
Yeah, I agree. It doesn't work as an ending at all.
It just seems really weak, and no. Yeah, I get it. I get the rule of three thing. I get why they've done it, but why you needed three of that in the first place? It doesn't do anything.
No, it doesn't do anything, and I feel like it's there in place of something which might. And that unfortunately is the problem with the film. I can't say I didn't enjoy this. I did. Yes, I was three sheets to the wind. All right, but I had a good time. I had a good time watching it. It was it was by no means a slog. I enjoyed it. I laughed at it. There were bits that were funny. I don't feel ripped off that I've paid to get it again. I would rather have watched it for free because I already own it, but I don't begrudge anybody the money I've paid for it. It entertained me. I think it was worth every penny of the £4 something. I can't remember how much it was. It was worth every penny of that for 90 minutes worth of entertainment while I was pissed. It is just a shame that it's not a more complete product because I feel like I have to say it is categorically not good. There is no doubt about it. This is a very poor film, very poor. It's awful in places. It feels like a bad sitcom pilot, is what it feels like. We mentioned like Harry and the Hendersons stuff earlier on. It feels like this is the start of something. It feels like and if he couldn't have got away at the end and he decided to stay on Earth, then a bit like the end of Mac and Me, then he has to, every week, it's a bit like him adjusting to a new thing on Earth and there's a new threat will pop up, and that's what it feels like. It feels like the first episode of a sitcom or something. But, for all of that, it's fun. It's fun. It's easy to watch. I'm going to watch it again. I know I will. This won't be the last time I watch Suburban Commando.
No, that was the same for me. I mean, I have it on VHS somewhere. I've never bought it on disc. And then when it came up, I looked at it and it was, I think on iTunes, I think it was £4 to rent it or £7 to buy it.
Yeah.
So fucking no brainer. I bought it. I will watch it again. I'll put it on with the kids because certainly number 2 will laugh at it. Number 1 will probably think it's stupid. But that's tends to how things I like go. That she doesn't like them. But number 2 will sit there and watch it. It's slapstick enough. He'll laugh his box off without really understanding it. And it works. And then I had a bonus today whereby I didn't realize I had store credit with iTunes. So actually, I got money back on it as well. So I think I only paid like £1 for it. So even
happy
better.
Days. And you've brought something up there which we haven't addressed, and I feel like it's important that we do. So before I forget, I'm just gonna jump across you and bring it up there. Like, I was very young when I first watched this. I would have been like 10 or 11. So would you. And I think you're dead right. If you show it to a kid today, and maybe you can talk to this by the time we next record or in the future, whenever you show it to them, I think a lot of the issues that we have will not bother children.
Yeah.
Okay. They absolutely will not, because I don't think there is enough story and enough it just hangs together, as we've said several times. There's enough to keep a kid interested and understand what's going on. Yeah. And on top of that, there's a load of slapstick humor and Hogan mugging and ball shots. There's no real bad language or violence to speak of. It's perfect for kids, in it. Like, they don't know any better. And I don't mean that to be condescending. I mean that just straight on the level as it is for a kid. They're not going to care about half of the shit that we've ragged on. I barely do, to be honest, because I enjoyed it. So, but then I'm a big kid anyway.
Yeah, but no, I think you're right. And I think it'll be interesting to see how that goes. But yeah, I mean, it's a difficult one because I remember seeing this in the cinema, so I would have been 9, 10, something like that. And as we've said before, same as yourself, I was a massive mark for Hogan. We just had a thing with the Undertaker. He was in the middle of a thing with the Undertaker, so seeing Mark Calloway in there was that was interesting as well. And yeah, I remember fucking loving this film to a point where I then had it on VHS for a birthday or Christmas or whatever it was, and I watched the living fuck out of it. I'm amazed the tape. I'll be amazed if the tape still works. I'll be amazed if it's not worn out in places. And not for Fast Time and Ridgemont High reasons, but just but
you knew I was going there if you didn't.
Yeah, I thought I'd throw that in. But yeah, no, just because the number of times it's been watched and rewound and watched and rewound and watched and rewound. So yeah, fine. But as I haven't seen this, I probably haven't seen this in about 15 years, if not more. Probably more because I'm pushing 40. So yeah, I mean, to go back to say, right, okay, haven't watched this in a long time. Let's look at it. And part of me is thinking, yeah, I fucking love this film. I remember this bit. And part of me is going, what the fuck did you do that for? What are they, seriously, that's the best option? So, I mean, there were points I was ready to throw stuff at the TV last night.
Yeah, it's really bad in places. Like I say, it's categorically not good, is it? Yeah.
And then there are other bits, and I said, no, the bits we're talking about where you do get the bits between them where he's like, why haven't we done that before? Oh, fuck off. Oh, shut up. That's I'm thinking that's your Lethal Weapon there. You've got that. You've got those elements in there. You've got you've got your buddy comedy. You've got your family movie. You've got all these different elements in, and they all pull together, except they don't quite go far enough because the legwork isn't done with them. I think that's the ultimate frustration is that there's so much in this film that's just left unexplored.
Yeah, I think they could pull together.
Yeah,
but they don't. But
yeah,
but they're all there for the taking. It's all there for the taking, and like you said, an extra 15, 20 minutes, or even if you want to keep the runtime the same, axe some of the just knockabout stuff earlier.
Yeah,
and dress it up here. Then it could. That's the frustrating thing with this film is that it could be. It's never going to be it's never going to win the Oscars, but it could be solid, and it's not, and I don't understand why, because it's such a given, like all of those things that we've talked about. Whereas what we're left with instead is something that I feel like I like in spite of how bad it is, rather than because of how bad it is, or because it's actually good. I like it. It's one of those things where I'm almost shame watching it. I won't tell anyone what I was watching on Friday night, but
I hate to tell you, but we've got like 4 people listening to the show every month.
So well, they know. I think kind of for the show, then I'm able to preface that by but it's for the show. We're watching all of the worst films ever, so it's okay. I'm talking about when I actually put this on out of choice, which I have and which I will in the future, and I'm going to be a little bit ashamed of that. I'm probably more so even than Showgirls.
At least Showgirls is almost porn.
Well, exactly. Whereas this just is not. Yeah, there's just nothing good about it. I feel like I should probably have a shower after telling people that I've watched it, but whatever. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. So you enjoyed it, but is it better than Mario?
What did I write down in my notes?
I think by this point, it was 7 or 8 points in, it would just be a line, won't it? It'd be a squiggle.
Okay, no. So, right. It's fun. I enjoyed it, and I will watch it again. Hogan is a decent action hero, despite the fact he cannot act or emote. He is a terrible leading man. Thankfully, here he's bolstered by a very good supporting cast. Better than Mario. So I apparently thought it was. I'm here now going, is it? I don't know. As we talk about it, I'm like, I always kind of go, if you put the two in front of me, which one would I go? I'll watch that. And I think right now I would pick Suburban Commando, but on any other day, I might go, maybe I'll watch Mario.
Yeah,
I think this is just more fun than Mario, slightly.
Yeah, that's what I came down to as well. I'm really torn on this one, because again, they both have a fairly silly edge to them.
Yeah.
And I think that, yes, they're very different films, but actually they're both fun. They're both silly. They're both rooted in worlds where actually, you know what? I mean, I know this isn't a wrestling film, but it's the fact it's got fucking Hulk Hogan in it, playing Hulk Hogan as a fucking space ranger. You can't beat that. So I mean, I spent a lot of time thinking about this today. I'm trying to think, did I find it better? And same as you, I would probably say, you know what? If you asked me today, I'd say, yeah, I would put this one on today and not Mario. But come the weekend, I might feel differently. I don't know.
I think of the two, Mario is a better film.
Oh yeah,
I will say I think it's better made. I think it commits to its central premise and
it costs me
more
less.
gusto.
I'm always in favor of that.
There's that, and I actually think it hangs together better as well. As discussed at length on the first episode of this show, I think actually everyone involved with Mario committed to it 100% and wanted to make a good film.
Yeah.
Whereas here, I definitely feel like maybe the cast did.
Some people were just getting paid.
But some people were just getting paid, yeah. And I also feel like there's definitely like some studio execs at this somewhere going, but kids are going to watch this. So I feel a little bit more cynical about it. But having said all of that, I think it's more fun. It's got a lighter touch than Mario.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think it's better. I think I'd rather watch this.
Yeah, I think you're right. So I've been quite torn on it, but I think you're right. I think, given the choice, I'd put this on again. As always, let us know what you think, listeners, because I mean, this is probably the closest run I think I've gone as to whether a film is or isn't better than Mario, and if I would or wouldn't rather watch this. But yeah, so we'd love to know what you think, because I mean, this it's one of these films that when we speak to people about what we've got coming up, when I mentioned this, a couple of people go, "What the fuck are you doing that for?" Clearly, Mario's going to be better. And other people go, "Oh, I love that. That was amazing. That's the one with Hulk Hogan and the Undertaker in." So, I mean, there is a definite fan base for this, and so let us know where you sit. Let us know what side of the fence you come down on. We'd love to know.
Yeah.
On Twitter, you can let us know at ddpodcast.net. You can go to our website, ddpodcast.net, where you can also pick up our previous episodes and other shows as well. You can leave us a message or email us through there. On Facebook and YouTube with the Double Run Podcast Network. So, again, leave us a message, get in touch. Wherever you get your podcasts from, be it iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Amazon Play, Google Music, etc., or whichever way I've got that wrong. I'm 4 points in. Like, share, subscribe, leave some messages, and we'll get back to you as best we can. But until next time.
See you later.